So, time is running out. And I don't just mean the afternoon. I mean, time is running out for you to be alive. At the time of the Buddha, there was, in the words of the Buddha, he told a story about a sage who lived many, many years before the Buddha. And in this story that the Buddha tells, this sage, his name is Araka. And he talks about Araka's teachings. So Araka always taught the brevity of life. The brevity of life. That life is impermanent, right? Goes just like that. And in this teaching, Araka gave 7 beautiful similes, which I just share with you before we do our death contemplation, just to sharpen the mind, to get you to not decide to just take it easy and fall asleep during this session, but to stay focused because life is short. And so Araka says, human life is... I wonder if we can ask them just to be a little bit quieter as we try to... Human life is short and fleeting, Araka says. Think about this and wake up. Wake up. For all beings that are born must die. And our time here is so short and so precious. He says, human life is like the dew on a blade of grass in the morning. It's there for a short time only, and it disappears. It's gone. Human life is like that. It is brief. It is full of suffering. Think about that and wake up. Live the holy life, he says. Study the spiritual teachings. He goes on to say that human life is short, it is brief. It's like when it rains. The raindrops cause those little bubbles, and they come up and they go pop, and they're gone. That's like this human life. It's so short. It's just like that dew on a blade of grass or that pop of the water bubble. It's there and then it's gone. He said it's like a line drawn in the water. As soon as it is drawn, it disappears. It's gone. That's what our human life is like. Think about this and wake up. He said it's like a fast-moving river flowing down the mountain. It never stops. It doesn't go backwards. It just flows one way, changing, changing, changing. This is what it's like to be a human. Our life is short. Our life is rapid. It doesn't stay the same. It only goes one way. And our life, Araka says, is like a glob of spit spat out and drying up in the sun. We're the spit. We just get spat out into the world, and we're here kind of drying in the sun for a little while. He said it's like a sliver of meat thrown into a hot pan. A tiny sliver, a hot pan. It sizzles and it's gone. He said, human life is like a cow being led to slaughter. Each step bringing it closer and closer towards death. Think about this. Wake up, said Araka the sage. For human life is short and full of suffering. So live a spiritual life. And this was the message of his teachings. And the Buddha said that at that time when Araka lived many, many thousands of years ago, he said humans had a very long lifespan. They lived for thousands of years. And even though humans had a very long lifespan, Araka always taught the brevity of life, that life is short. And so this story, I think, is a good way for us to get into the spirit of our death contemplation, this idea of impermanence, of the brevity of our life, that we should take the opportunity now. We don't know how long our life will last. And even though we live in an age where it seems like people live for a long time, people living into their hundreds, even then, that life is short. Even a life of 1,000 years is brief when you look at the cosmos, right? Even a life of 1,000 years will go quickly, and you will still want 1,000 years and 1 day. It'll never be enough. Your life will always be too short. And so this feeling of impermanence is something that I want to bring into our practice this afternoon. Not to kind of terrify you or like jangle your nerves, but to get you to understand that this is also a natural process of change. Things just change. Things aren't permanent. This is a natural part of life. The flowers behind me, I'm just assuming there's some flowers behind me, I haven't looked, yeah? They're not placed there merely because they're pretty, are they? They're placed there as a reminder of this truth of impermanence. And of course, flowers have an association with things like grave culture. We take flowers to the dead. We place them on the graves. Plucking a flower in its prime is a kind of sacrifice, right? It's a way that we understand impermanence, change. We see these flowers that were once alive, having grown, having budded, having become beautiful blossoms. We cut them. The moment we cut them, they have already begun to die. And as they die, they wilt, their colour fades, they droop, petals fall off. Eventually they just look like sticks with a bit of stuff at the top, right? And sometimes you'll find very enthusiastic flower arrangers in monasteries, and they'll kind of want only the freshest, only the newest. But I think the greatest lesson is just to leave them there for some time, right? So that we can understand this transience, this change. Because it's part of a natural process. That flower, even if it wasn't cut, couldn't live forever on the tree. That's why flowers are beautiful, because they last for a short time and then they're gone. When they're there, we celebrate it. When they're gone, we notice its absence. And the same with everything in this world. Everything is impermanent, doesn't last. Things come into this world, they stay for a short time, and then they go. And that's seeing in accordance with reality.